Hello friends, welcome to today's video. And since Mother's Day is right around the corner, we are going to be talking about all those things no one tells you about becoming a mom. Let's get started. There are a few surprises, and first off, let me just kind of put a caveat emptor on this thing really quickly. Every human being is unique, and on top of that, every pregnancy is unique, and so these aren't going to apply to everybody. None of it applies to everybody unless you're that poor unfortunate soul that gets hit by everything. But these are just kind of general things that I found, or talking to like my sisters and, just around the women in my family and friends and such. Some of the stuff that we have experienced that you don't often hear about. So let's go ahead and get in. First of all, you get something called pregnancy brain, wherein you become so dumb, so forgetful. And my husband had looked it up, honestly, because I was just like, I was forgetting words. You'll leave the remote in the fridge. You'll just do all kinds of crazy, distracted, unlike you things. And I guess it's your body is so focused on being pregnant and protecting your offspring, and you're literally building a person inside of you. So I guess your body and your brain is so focused on it that other things just kind of go to the background. So that's something to look forward to, and that was not fun. Some of it lingers. So if you think your mom is silly or goofy, odds are you're to blame. So there's that. Another thing nobody tells you is that you will not look cute and like Instagrammy and like with what they call the bump now. You won't look like that until you're about 6 to 7 months pregnant. Before that, and this is going to be politically incorrect, but we were talking about motherhood, and I feel like most of my viewers are mothers and they're going to get this. You just look and feel fat. You really do. And you don't get that perfect round bubble that's like super cute, looks great in photos, that you kind of want to show off. It's the only time in your life you're going to want to show off your stomach till you're about the 6th or 7th mark. So if you're newly pregnant and have never been pregnant before, you're planning, I know a lot of people do maternity photo shoots. My sister did one that was beautiful when she was pregnant with my niece, Belle. I would book it from around the 6th or 7th mark, because if you do it any earlier or any later, you're probably not gonna like the way you look. Another thing that I think this one everybody tells you, but until you experience it, you do not fully understand how it feels. And that is the fatigue. You will be so tired. This will be the most tired, unless you are like in Ironman competitions. This will be the most tired you will ever be in your life. My tiredness, I guess you could say, during pregnancy was way worse than it was when I had an infant who was getting up in the middle of the night. I was so exhausted. And when you think about it, remember earlier in my video when I said you're building another person, your body, we don't see it. You don't even really feel it happening. Your body is building another human being, and it's keeping it alive, and you alive. So it's like an F-150 truck's battery running the F-150 and also running a smart car, both at the same time. That battery is not going to be running at maximum efficiency, is it? You're going to get tired, and it's going to be a tired like you've never experienced. You are going to want to sleep so much. And if this is your first pregnancy and you do not have a little one to chase after, I highly recommend that you take advantage of the fact that you can nap during your free time. Obviously, if you're working during pregnancy, you aren't going to be able to nap while you're at work. But when you're at home on your day off, if you feel like you need to rest but you're feeling guilty, don't. I realize that it looks like you're not doing anything. You are doing so much internally. Your body is working double time. Your body, your heart is keeping another heart going. So take care of yourself, rest, because the fatigue that you will feel as a pregnant woman is unlike anything that you will ever experience again. And I'm so glad that those days are behind me. This was one that I experienced personally that I was not expecting. You have a lot more liquid in your body. Your blood volume increases, but that's not all, at least for me. And I don't know if I'm like in a minority here. And I'd love to hear, like, if you're watching this and you had some like weird, crazy experience while you were pregnant, please comment. I'm just like, I'm fascinated by stuff like this. So I think it'd be really interesting to know. And I think it's a really good topic to talk about, especially during Mother's Day. I was a walking bag of liquid for both pregnancies. Now, I know we've all like kind of drooled in our sleep every so often. I was drooling when I was awake. I can distinctly remember doing dishes here at the house, and I'm scrubbing and I'm watching TV, and all of a sudden drool just came out. It's so disgusting. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I had so much more saliva than average. So I was drooling in my sleep every night. You know, I know that like most of us have drooled every so often, and you wake up and you kind of do that number. This was a constant occurrence every night. I would constantly end up choking on my saliva because I had so much. I was sweating like crazy, way more than usual. And I'm a sweaty person. I sweat a lot. That's just, sorry, TMI, but that's just who I am. So I was just like so full of liquid, so full of liquid. Maybe prepare yourself for that, because I don't think hopefully I'm not alone in that one, but that really was just so gross and so crazy. So that's one of those ones that you don't hear talked about, but it's something that I certainly experienced that wasn't the most pleasant thing to experience, but you know, it is what it is. Epidurals or spinals. This is for like when you're in labor. And I realize that a lot of people who have like natural childbirth don't want to get them. I personally feel like if you want to get them, get one. And in some cases, you might not have a choice. I had 2 C-sections. So I had an epidural for my first one and a spinal for my second. My first one, obviously, the C-section was not planned. I was thinking that I would give a natural birth. But my son's heart rate kept going up and down, and he stood really high. He did not want to come out. And I was laboring. So I was having contractions. My water broke on its own. My body was ready. He just didn't want to come out. So I ended up with an epidural for that one. And then with my second son, even though I did not expect to have to labor because my C-section was scheduled, I actually went into labor with him 2 days early. So I labored with him as well for about 5-6 hours before I got my spinal when they prepped me for surgery, because when I came in, I didn't ask for anything, but they also didn't offer. So I felt my labor, even though I really wasn't expecting to have to do that. But for those of you who have never experienced it, I felt mine. Some women do not. If they are laboring really hard and they're having really powerful contractions, you might not feel it. Myself personally, both times was in between contractions, and you feel it, and it's nerve-wracking, because they be still, don't move, and they have you like lean over and hunch and like cradle a pillow, and you feel them like, you know, manipulating your back, getting the spot where they want to put it, and then you feel it slip in. And it's not really like a needle as I understand it. It's pretty flexible. I'm not an expert or anything like that. But you feel it slip in between your spine, and it's this weird, like, for me it was like this weird scrapey sensation. It felt gross, but I would, as soon as that medication hits you, you're just like, your body relaxes. And for one of my sisters, my youngest sister, Sarah, with her first daughter, the physician strongly recommended it because she had started to hyperventilate, and this was her first pregnancy, and she's trying to breathe through her contractions, and the doctor said, you need to relax, we're going to give you an epidural. And obviously it was her choice, but they gave her one, and once she had it, she was able to breathe normally and kind of power through things. And when you give a natural birth and you have an epidural, they don't numb you quite as much as a C-section. So you won't be able to really walk, but you'll still be able to feel some sensations. And it's basically like from the waist down when you don't feel it. When you have a C-section, myself personally, I couldn't feel anything below my chest. And there was, for one like weird moment, I couldn't feel myself breathing. And that immediately makes you go, and luckily it was very brief. And then I could feel myself inhaling and exhaling again. I don't know if I got just like a little bit too much anesthesia at one point or not. They also never leave you alone, just so you know. So anyhow, so I couldn't feel myself breathe, and that it was terrifying, but it only lasted for a second. And then I could feel myself, and I was able to just kind of breathe through. And it's a very surreal experience, knowing that your body is literally being cut open and you can't see it, and they're pulling somebody out of you. And it's very strange, and you will be so cold. I was freezing. I remember when they finally closed me up, took everything down, because you are covered, they don't let you see. The nurse put heated blankets on me, and it was the most wonderful, luxurious feeling in the world to finally be warm. And then once your little one arrives, there's a whole new mess of surprises that comes along with being a mom. One of the strange things about newborns that you don't realize is that, like, for the first 2 to 3 weeks, they're just gonna be sleeping. They'll wake up to eat, but for the most part, their day is spent resting. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of weird stuff that's going on with them. If you think about it, like, you know, they've never been cold, they've never been hungry, they've never felt gravity. So it's all pretty new, but they spend most of their time sleeping, and it will be probably one of the easier times, even though you don't realize it, in taking care of an infant. It will probably be one of the easier times. Even my husband was like, this is a breeze. We were so stupid. But honestly, it's probably one of the times that you're going to worry the most, where you're just going to be looking like you're going to be, are they sleeping? Is that normal? Should they be breathing that way? All of those little things, you're going to be so insanely worried during a time that maybe you should actually be enjoying that you're not cooking dinner with a baby in your arms. For the most part, newborns are kind of a snap. Unless you have to put a long sleeve onesie on them. That takes some getting used to. When it comes to breastfeeding, you might not make enough to feed your baby. This was my experience, and also a friend of mine. This was, especially for my first, I hardly made anything, and I had planned to breastfeed. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I've got this. I had a plan, I read up on it. I knew, I thought I, prepped myself as much as possible, but my body did not cooperate. On average, when I did measure, when I pumped, I made about an ounce. And for a newborn, that's okay. But as your child gets older, that's nowhere near enough. And that was really frustrating for me, because I did like lactation cookies and fenugreek. All that one did was make me sweat a lot, and I smelled like pancakes. It was not cute. And it was, oatmeal and all this stuff. This will do it. That'll do it. This will make you produce more milk. None of that worked for me. I hardly made anything. I did pump for 6 months eventually, because I got so frustrated with it because I wasn't making enough, and my son was getting frustrated because he was hungry, that I ended up supplementing. Most of his food came from formula, and so I just decided to pump, and then whatever I could make, I just put it into his bottle. I didn't actually keep him, like breastfeed him from my body for more than 2 months. After 2 months, I'm not making enough. We're both frustrated. And then my son actually would, probably because he was frustrated, he would twist on me, like literally like bite down and like twist his head, which was so painful, so painful. Kind of be prepared for that and realize that, and I felt guilty. I felt so guilty. I felt like I wasn't doing my job as a mom. And, nobody should ever feel like that, especially it's just your body's not cooperating. And that's not unheard of. And I know that there are so many people, especially nowadays, who feel pressure to breastfeed and, do it the right way or the natural way. And if that's not your story, that's not your story. And you shouldn't feel guilty about that, because so much about being a mom comes with a big old helping of guilt. That shouldn't be one of them. You probably will anyway. I certainly did. But you've really just gotta kind of cut yourself a break. With my second son, I did make more. About half of what he consumed came from me, which felt like such a huge win, especially in comparison to my first experience. And don't get me wrong, there's a lovely kind of bonding that happens when you do breastfeed. It's indescribable. It's a phenomenon unto itself, that you just feel like a mom, you know what I mean? But about half of it came from me. But then one of my milk ducts got infected. You can see him. I'm talking about this guy right here. One of them, I ended up having a pretty bad infection, and it was so close to my C-section that my doctor knew that it would be dangerous, that he had to treat me. So I was on antibiotics. I could not breastfeed while I was on medication for about 2 weeks because I was running fevers. I just wasn't feeling good. So I had to stop, and I continued to pump just so nothing would dry up. I dried up anyway. And again, I tried with the supplements and the lactation cookies and bars and whatever. And again, nothing worked. So my kids grew up on formula. Was it the most ideal thing for them to have? No. Was it what I had planned? No. But are they healthy, happy kiddos? And did we have great experiences? Absolutely. So again, things aren't going to go as planned. And you hear like nowadays, oh, I have a birthing plan and I have this, and this is how I want it to go. Kind of don't hold on to those things too tightly, because this is life, and it's completely unpredictable, and children are unpredictable, and they are their own persons, and they will do what they want to do, and your body's going to kind of do what it wants to do, and it doesn't always listen to what the head is saying. So just kind of, go easy on yourself there, I would say. Another thing nobody told me about that, and I'm not sure how to say it. I don't know if it's d-mer or if you just say d-m-e-r. I will put the description of the actual diagnosis right here. But you may actually experience anxiety when you are breastfeeding or pumping. Myself personally, I only experienced it when I was pumping. Never when I was breastfeeding my child, but when I was pumping, I would just get so nervous, like physically, just like kind of like it was very bizarre. It felt, like the first day of school jitters, it felt like that. And I had no idea what it was. And I'm like, okay, this is only happening when I'm doing this. What is this? So I kind of researched it, and I found out that this is actually somewhat common for women to experience, and they might not realize that that's what's happening, especially if they have anxiety anyway, or, they're a new mom, which comes with its own anxiety. So, just, kind of be aware. If you're feeling something new, look into it, or talk to your doctor. Well, talk to your doctor really, because, you know, it might be something that has a name, and once you realize what's happening, A, you can figure out ways to take care of it, but B, once you know what it is, that's a relief unto itself. So just kind of be aware that you're going to experience stuff that might not be what you think, and you might be able to do something about. A couple of more things, and these ones are a little bit less serious, a little bit more funny. Just things that nobody tells you that you will experience when you have kids is probably one, and this was my sister who actually told me this. She's like, just so you're aware, you will not be able to sit down and watch a movie uninterrupted for years. It will be years. My son is 7, and my sons are 7 and 4. I have not seen a movie uninterrupted. Gosh, I think now that they sleep through the night, that they're older, I can see one late at night with my husband all the way through. But not until about last year when my youngest was 3. Constant interruptions. Mother, thy name is interruption. You will be interrupted, and to sit down for 2 hours straight and watch something on the TV ain't gonna happen. Movie theater ain't gonna happen. Yeah, interruptions are gonna kind of be the norm for a while. Another thing that you should probably be aware of that not a lot of people talk about is that being a mother comes with an insane amount of worry. Worry will be your constant companion. Make peace with it. Your joints will never be the same. You will be affected by cold. And again, this isn't everybody, but this is a lot of women. You will have the joints of a 90-year-old arthritic man. Your joints just aren't going to be the same. You're not going to be as flexible. You're going to feel when it's damp outside. All of those like old lady things, that's kind of the origin story there, is having babies. Maternal instincts. I feel like everybody on the planet, even men, have some form of maternal instinct, or like even paternal, if you will. But most of the time we tend to think of them as very like nurturing instincts. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to make you comfortable. And that certainly is part of it, but there's another part that you don't really realize until you're actually a parent that's actually kind of aggressive and violent, even not toward your children, but toward any threat you perceive toward your children. You know, I'm not a confrontational person. I'm not necessarily like, you know, the most aggressive person. I'm pretty quiet. I'm pretty introverted. But when it comes to my children, I will kill you. And this is something that every woman experiences. You know, it's such a cute term, maternal instinct, or even mama bear, but it truly is this like visceral response where anything comes toward you and you will react in a bigger way than you would have ever thought possible. And you may, odds are you're going to kind of overreact. My mom is kind of the quintessential person for this. She's brash, she's loud, she's an extrovert. She will tell you, she knows her mind and she will gladly share it with you. And she's just like, we call it releasing the Kraken. When she gets mad towards somebody who is bothering her children, she will go off. Okay, I just remembered this story, but just to kind of illustrate the kind of mom my mom is, I can recall one time when my little sister Aileen was about 7, a man called at the house and asked for her. Hi, can I speak to Raylene blank blank? When my mom answered the phone, and her reaction was exactly like a mama bear. It was big and it was fast and it was, who the F is this? And of course the man was taken aback and she's like, she is 7 years old. Why is a grown man calling for my daughter? And as it happened, it was actually innocent. For some reason, my sister ended up on a telemarketer's list. I don't know why a 7-year-old would be on there, but it was a telemarketer trying to sell magazines, and he apologized. And obviously, when my mom heard that this was something that was innocent and an honest mistake, she apologized, but asked that her name be removed. But that just gives you a taste, a very tiny taste of what kind of mom Jackie is. So I just thought I'd share it with you, just to kind of get a kick out of my mom and her very maternal personality. This is just what it's like to be a mom, and it is something that you don't really even think about. And again, the response that you have when you perceive a threat toward your child will be irrational, it will be big, and it will be hard to control. Anyhow, guys, that about wraps it up for this video. Again, if you have something weird or unique, or just like, why didn't anybody tell me this about motherhood and your experiences, I would love to hear about it. Please do comment down below. I think it's important to share, especially, you know, there are women out there who are becoming mothers for the first time. You're always, no matter how much you prepare, you're going to be unprepared, but you kind of, the more information you have, the less worrying you tend to do, I think. But anyhow, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful Mother's Day, whether you are a mother or if you are wishing your mother a happy Mother's Day. I hope your day is great. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Really quickly, there won't be a decluttering video this weekend. I'm going to take some time off, kind of treat myself, and do a little bit of nothing this Mother's Day weekend, and I encourage you to do the same. Anyhow, again, please be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care and happy Mother's Day. Bye.